What is up, crypto fam? It's Herbie's Breadloaf here. Are you tired of watching 30-minute, 45-minute, 60-minute YouTube videos just to find some of those alpha leaks? Well, I was. So that's why I made 5-Minute Alpha, a series of YouTube videos that gives you juicy alpha in your face in 5 minutes or less. Happy Tuesday, crypto fam. It's Herbie's Breadloaf here, and on this episode of 5-Minute Alpha, we are talking about Rocket Finance. So, what is Rocket Finance? Well, as you can see here, it is another tomb fork. Guess what? On Phantom. And it is pegged to Phantom. Well, you might ask, do we need another tomb fork on Phantom? And the answer really is no, we don't. So when I saw this, I learned about this yesterday, and I thought to myself, man, this looks like a pump and dump. And guess what? With 12 million total value locked, I still think it's going to be a pump and dump. So I want to talk about what red flags came up, and you know, as a retail investor early on, even though we know it's going to be a pump and dump, how we can profit from this. I do want to say this is a very degen play. Please, please, if you do ape in just a small, tiny bag, something that you're willing to lose completely. So let's go ahead and go over this website. It's really funny because they even use the same font as Tomb Finance, and I just just makes me chuckle a little bit inside. But basically, we have Rocket, which is just like Tomb. It's supposed to be pegged to Phantom 1-to-1. Right now, it's 19 Phantom, so 19 times peg. You have SROCKET, which is the same as T share, and RBOND, which is the same as T bond. And then you have your LPs, just like in Tomb Finance. If you go over here to the Launchpad, Launchpad is basically like the cemetery, and right now, this is extremely early on, so they're just now opening some of this stuff up. Right now, the Rocket and Phantom LP, as well as the S-Rocket and Phantom LP, both of these are not even open yet. Right now, all you have is a Genesis pool, so you can go ahead and stake Wrapped Phantom single-sided to earn Rocket. The APR is relatively low, right? 37% overall. There's a bunch of TVL locked, so that's really interesting. This right here, this Genesis pool is going to end tomorrow, actually, at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So, you still have about 12 hours left if you want to get into this. I would say that, this is really risky, but less risky than those LPs, right? Because you're staking Phantom to earn Rocket. You're not at risk of impermanent loss, something to think about. And so if we look at these LPs, the Rocket S-Rocket, the Rocket Phantom to earn S-Rocket, these aren't even open yet. The APRs aren't even displaying. If you go over to the factory, so if Launchpad was like Cemetery, Factory is like Masonry and Tomb. Again, the same font, hilarious. But basically here you can, stake your your S-Rocket for a certain number of time and earn Rocket. It's very similar to the Masonry where it's only open for claiming at certain periods of time after certain epochs. And then when you have Factory, you also have Bond. This is kind of like the pit in Tomb Finance. And so here, same thing. Depending on what the TWAP is, you can claim and redeem our bonds. And so, let's kind of look over what some of the red flags I found are. This is in their docs. They talk about their background a little bit. They do talk about KYC, so they were KYC'd by OXGuard. Again, I've talked about this in the past. They can be KYC'd and still rug on you, so definitely something to be careful of. They talk about the big picture. Again, basically copying and pasting what Tomb is. They even talk about Tomb a little bit. And then they talk about what differentiates. And basically, it says the lack of use cases, right? And so that's interesting because they talk about the lack of use cases, but then they don't actually talk about any use cases of their own. And then when you go to the roadmap, man, this roadmap is lacking, right? They talk about the website being developed, which I hope it is at launch. They talk about partnerships, but don't name any specifics. They talk about smart contracts being developed. Again, this is like basic things that you need to have a protocol. They don't actually talk about any specific plans that would excite or intrigue me as an investor. They kind of go over the protocol, like what the launchpad is, what the factory is, and the rewards, as well as basically the equations for what Tomb goes over. What's really interesting is the tokenomics. So I actually kind of like the tokenomics. There's 100,000 supply. Only 5,000 is going to the team, and it's vested linearly over 3 months. 3 months is relatively short, but again, 5,000 is only about 5%, so that's very reasonable, right? 3 to 5% for the team is kind of what I expect. So this is quite interesting. What I would say in terms of something that's unique is they do have a public DAO wallet, right? So the money that they raise, the liquidity that they raise, they're going to put into this DAO wallet, and they're going to talk about what they want to do with it. And I actually interviewed the founder, and you can find that interview here in a Medium article that I published. And basically the founder, Darnall, who I'm going to refer to as Darnall, I'm not sure if it's a he or a she, but basically they said, they're going to use that money to buy back into the protocol and to try and keep it alive. So there's a lot of red flags that came up during this interview. I asked them what distinguishes Rocket from other signerage protocols like Tomb, and then they basically said nothing special. So that's pretty frightening. But they did want to be transparent with the DAO wallet, which, that's noble. I get that. Something else that really worried me is future plans. So I asked them, what are the future plans of Rocket Finance? And basically they said the future plan is to keep this protocol alive as much we can. And then when it eventually dies, so even the founder is expecting it to die relatively quickly. Well, not relatively quickly, but they expect it to die. They plan to relaunch it on another ecosystem. So, that's pretty frightening. I even say it here. So if the founder seems to think that the protocol is not built to last, why should we as investors expect it to last? So definitely something to be worried about. I'm not going to ape into this, but it's something that if you do want to ape into, I would say be very, very cautious. This is the price action over a 15-minute chart. You can see there's some opportunity for swing trading. But what kind of worries me is if you go to the daily chart, it looks like a mess. Or the 4-hour chart even. It has this huge rise up, right? This is probably low liquidity, all the way up to 8,000 there for that, and the top of the candle 20,000, and then just immediately drops to like $40. So again, if you do want to ape into this, be very, very careful. If I were to ape into this, I'd probably only do swing trading, and I do it very, very conservatively. But how could you go into this in a safe way? Well, what you could do is do the Genesis pool for the next 12 hours, stake a wrapped phantom, earn Rocket, and then immediately sell that Rocket, right? So that's something that would be very safe to do. You could take that Rocket, I would sell it, but if you don't sell it, you could put it into the Rocket Phantom LP, and then from those rewards, I would immediately sell it to a stablecoin like USDC. But anyways, so that's the protocol for Rocket Finance. This is kind of how I look at protocols, how I evaluate them critically, look for some of these red flags, and avoid getting rugged or soft rugged. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It really does help the channel, and I'll see you guys in our next video.